That evening, the whole street was quiet, only the sound of frying oil, and distant music echoed in the air. People passed by talking about their own problems, never knowing that somewhere behind a small wooden door, a young woman sat on the floor holding a child and fighting tears she had held back for years. Her name was Amara. Once upon a time, Amara had big dreams. She wanted to be a nurse, travel the world and take care of people. But life didn't give her the chance she prayed for. Her story did not start with joy. It started with a heartbreak that almost swallowed her. When Amara met Daniel, she was young, hopeful and ready to love with her whole heart. Daniel was charming, always smiling, always making her believe the future would be bright. They planned a life together, talked about building a home, and Amara trusted every word he said. She thought he had found the one person who would stay. Everything changed the day she told him she was pregnant. Daniel stared at her as if she had brought him the worst news in the world. Instead of standing by her, he said she was trying to trap him. He told her he wasn't ready. He told her to handle it on her own. And with that, he walked away from her life like she meant nothing. The days that followed were heavy. Amara cried every night, hiding her face in her pillow so her mother wouldn't hear. Her mother already carried enough problems, and Amara didn't want to add more. When her pregnancy started showing, neighbors whispered. Some people pointed when she passed by, and some women pulled their sons away from her path as if she carried a curse. She learned quickly that society had sharp eyes and even sharper tongue. When she gave birth to her son Chidi, something changed in her heart. She looked at his tiny face and felt a strength she never knew she had. She promised him that even if the world rejected her, she would never reject him. But motherhood came with its own battles. Amara woke up before sunrise to fetch water, cook and prepare for the day. She took any job she could find. She washed clothes for people who barely greeted her. She cleaned shops, carried goods in the market, peeled cassava for long hours, and even helped in a small restaurant where the owner shouted at her whenever she made the slightest mistake. Her hands were always tired, her back always aching, but she smiled whenever she looked at Chidi sleeping peacefully beside her. Some nights, she had only Gary so her son could have a proper meal. When Chidi turned 5, Amara decided he would have the education she never had the chance to complete. She enrolled him in a small school, paying little by little. Sometimes, she hid behind the school gate watching him recite his ABCs. His voice sounded like hope. As Chidi grew, he noticed everything she did. He saw how she hid her torn shoes beneath her long skirt. He saw how she pretended she wasn't hungry whenever he asked why she wasn't eating. He saw how she walked with courage even when people mocked her for having a child without a husband. Some suitors came along, but once they heard she had a child, they disappeared. Some smiled at first, but their mothers would drag them away, saying, "Don't bring another woman's child into our house." Some even told her straight to her face, "A single mother is not what I planned for." But Amara kept her head up. She refused to allow shame bury her. Years passed. Chidi grew into a bright, brilliant young man. He loved computers and always found ways to fix gadgets in the neighborhood. People started calling him the young engineer. Somewhere deep inside, Amara knew he was going to make it. She had no money, no connections, nothing fancy, but she had given him love, sacrifice, and prayers whispered every night before dawn. When Chidi reached university age, paying fees became almost impossible. Amara worked morning till night. She took a cleaning job in an office where the security men pitied her, letting her rest on some nights when she looked too weak to stand. There were days she fainted from stress, but she would still rise and continue because she promised her son a future. Everything changed the day Chidi won a national tech competition. His invention attracted attention from big companies. Newspapers carried his name. TV stations talked about him. Everyone wanted to meet the boy who came from nothing. But he did not come from nothing. He came from a woman who gave him everything she had. When Chidi got a job offer from a top tech company in Lagos, Amara cried, not tears of sadness, but tears of fulfillment. For the first time in years, she felt the storm in her life coming. But then, like a shadow from the past, Daniel returned. He showed up one evening, knocking on her door with a wide smile as if he had never walked away. He praised Chidi's success and said he wanted to be part of his life again. He spoke as if he had been waiting for this moment. He tried to hug Chidi. He tried to call himself Dad. Mara stood at the doorway breathing deeply. All those nights of pain returned to her. All those years she suffered alone. All the times she wished she had someone to stand by her. And now, this man who had denied her and the child was suddenly proud to claim them because the world now applauded Chidi. At first, Chidi didn't know how to react. He had grown up without a father. He had never heard Daniel's name except in whispers his mother tried to hide. But when he saw the pain in her eyes, he understood everything. Chidi asked him one question. Where were you when my mother was suffering? Daniel had no answer. He talked, he begged, he explained, but the truth hung in the air like a heavy cloud. He had abandoned them when they needed him most. Not only once had he tried to check on them. Not once had he asked about the child he helped break into the world. When he saw that his words were failing, Daniel tried a different tactic. He said he had the right to son's life. He said Amara couldn't keep him away. He said he deserved to share the success. But Chidi stood beside his mother and gently held her hand. He told Daniel that family is not about blood. Family is about love, sacrifice and presence. He said the person who raised him, protected him, fed him, and believed in him was the only parent he recognized. That night, Daniel walked away again. But this time, Amara felt no pain. She felt nothing but peace. A week later, Chidi bought her a small but beautiful apartment in a quiet neighborhood. When she entered the new house, she sat on the floor and cried until her chest hurt. Not because of sadness, but because she had finally risen above everything that tried to break her. She remembered all the times she begged for jobs, all the times she patched her clothes, all the times she prayed silently while watching her son sleep. She remembered how society mocked her, how suitors rejected her, how people whispered behind her back. She remembered the shame she fought alone. But now she sat in a new home, surrounded by blessings she had once only imagined. Chidi knelt beside her and wiped her tears. He thanked her for never giving up on him. He told her that every success he achieved was built on her courage. And that night, as they sat together, Amara realized that her story had changed. Her life had started as a storm, but now she was living in calm waters. She had survived, not because life was kind, but because she refused to let life defeat her. Her journey was not pretty, it was not easy, it was not smooth, but it was worth every tear she shed. She had raised a great man, and through all the pains, the rejection, the mockery, the loneliness, and the long nights of struggle, she won.